Thanks for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Ephraim Graham. Congress holds its first hearings today into the Obamacare website fiasco. Legislators want to know why it costs so much and performs so poorly. The first group to be called, executives of CGI Federal. Now, that's the company that built the site. And it's not the first time CGI has had problems delivering on a product. But as Paul Strand explains, a fair share of the blame lies at the feet of the Obama administration.
With thousands of people unable to navigate their way through just the first couple of hoops, the Obamacare website's troubles could well create serious problems for Obamacare itself.
And I think the president has lost enormous credibility because he told people the day before it launched, this is going to be just as easy as shopping for an airplane ticket or shopping on Amazon.
And apparently the test period before the big public launch showed these major issues were likely to happen. Grace Marie Turner heads up a nonprofit organization that focuses on creating a better healthcare system.
They did a test with just a few hundred people around the country going onto the site at the same time a few days before it launched, and it crashed the site. What about the 20 million people that have tried to get on the site since then? They had to know this was not going to work. They went ahead with it anyway.
And all of this has made for headlines about the firm at the center of building these troubled websites, CGI Federal. Turns out its parent company was fired last year after missing 3 years of deadlines to set up Ontario, Canada's Internet Medical Registry. Ontario canceled CGI Group's $46 million contract. A Canadian official told the Washington Examiner they weren't able to meet guidelines to have a product up and running that physicians can use. It dragged on and on. U.S. officials gave contracts totaling $87 million to CGI Group's subsidiary, CGI Federal, to get the Obamacare websites up and running. Now, these officials won't say if they knew of CGI's embarrassing Canadian troubles when they handed out or were administering those contracts.
The Health and Human Services Department decided it was going to be the lead contractor without the expertise to run something that is probably the most complicated website that's ever been created. It's no wonder it's a failure, and I think it's going to be very difficult to fix this.
But CGI has had its successes too, including on complicated software for government agencies. Indeed, a big part of the problem with the Obamacare websites may well be the government itself. The Washington Post reports that the Department of Health and Human Services took years to lay out the final specifications for the system. So CGI couldn't really get started on the complicated websites until this spring. And the government may have way underestimated the cost. On top of that, more than 50 other companies were working on the project. And getting all that different software to work together is very difficult, even when a project isn't very rushed. So while no one's sure exactly what went wrong, there's apparently plenty of blame to go around. From the software companies to the government, which may not have given those companies enough time or money to get the job done right. Which has some critics already asking this question. If the government can't handle setting the website up right, how can it handle all the medical aspects of Obamacare itself? Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
The White House says technicians are deep into the job of fixing its problem-plagued healthcare website, but that isn't stopping calls for the delay of the program and calls for someone to be fired. And they're coming from both sides of the aisle. One House Democrat said, quote, the president needs to man up, find out who is responsible, and fire them. The administration says a change is underway to extend the sign-up period and give consumers until March to buy insurance without penalty. Meanwhile, the American Center for Law and Justice launched a new web strategy to challenge Obamacare and its individual mandate. Can'tEnroll.com encourages Americans to join their ranks to stop unconstitutional penalties and to delay the individual mandate. On our CBN News Watch program, Seton Motley of Less Government said the website disaster could hurt the president politically, but it's definitely hurting the country economically.
The learning curve for the average American on just how bad this is unfortunately lagging. But when you've got some people like Jay Leno making fun of it and Jon Stewart making fun of it, I think it's so bad and it's so cataclysmic that we may actually see some damage to his credibility, given that he put himself so far on the line in his huckster-in-chief moment on Monday. I've been saying from the beginning that I would bet anybody who favors this law money that more people will lose their insurance because of this than actually acquire insurance because of this. You just saw in Florida, 300,000 people got got cancellation notices on their insurance yesterday, I believe it was. You have these stories all over the place. And, Obama says this is more than a website. Okay, let's look beyond the website. You have people losing their insurance. You have people losing hours on their jobs, down to 29 hours when they're not losing their jobs entirely. It's a disaster. It's not just destroying the private health insurance sector. It's destroying the entire private sector.
And you can see that full interview at our website, cbnnews.com. A health network in Indiana announced it will be making major cuts to its job force because of Obamacare. The Franciscan Alliance Hospital Network handed out layoff notices to 275 employees, and that is only part of the hospital's effort to eliminate 925 jobs. Employees who don't get laid off will still be affected even. The hospital plans to cut hours and benefits for remaining full-time employees, and that'll start next year. President Obama is calling for a renewed push to pass immigration reform. Today, he's asking Congress to pass comprehensive legislation by the end of the year. The Senate passed a bill in June, but it's been stalled in the House of Representatives. Speaker John Boehner says he believes the House can take action before 2014. However, many House Republicans aren't ready to support the president's plan. The damage from America's massive spying program continues to pile up. Now the German Foreign Ministry has summoned the U.S. ambassador after reports American intelligence may have targeted Chancellor Angela Merkel's cell phone. Our Dale Hurd has that story.
Some of America's closest allies have learned of new allegations that the U.S. government has been spying on them as if they were enemies, and they're angry. German officials said they received information that Chancellor Angela Merkel's cell phone may have been monitored by American intelligence. President Obama dealt with the fallout personally. Merkel reportedly told Obama it would be a serious breach of trust if confirmed.
All I can tell you is what the president told the chancellor. The United States is not monitoring and will not monitor the communications of the chancellor.
But note that White House Press Secretary Jay Carney said the U.S. is not monitoring and will not monitor. He did not say the U.S. has never monitored Merkel's communications. It's not just Germany. Mexico and Brazil are launching investigations to determine if the U.S. spied on its officials. France, one of America's oldest allies, is also upset. Its government demanded an explanation from the U.S. ambassador after reports surfaced that the NSA collected more than 70 million French telephone records over a 30-day period. The Obama administration has rejected some of those allegations and keeps insisting it's working to strike a balance between security and privacy.
Protecting the security of our citizens in today's world is a very complicated, very challenging task. We in the United States are currently reviewing the way that we gather intelligence.
But the damage from the revelations of former NSA employee Edward Snowden continues to mount. Snowden is living in Russia. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Some Air Force officers have made dangerous missteps when it comes to safeguarding U.S. nuclear missiles. The officers entrusted with the launch keys have left the blast door open at least twice this year. That is the door that is designed to prevent intruders and potential terrorists from entering their underground command post. There is also concern an intruder could compromise secret launch codes. Transgressions like these are rarely revealed, but officials did report them to the Associated Press. I want to turn now to medical news. Strokes are increasingly affecting younger people. According to a new study out of London, the number of strokes in people ages 20 to 64 has jumped by a quarter. That means the number of strokes worldwide could double by 2030. Researchers say most strokes still happen to the elderly, but there's a growing number of young people with risk factors for stroke. Those include obesity, diabetes, and high blood pressure. America's attitude toward marijuana is vastly different today than it was just a year ago. Now most Americans believe the drug should be legal. According to a new Gallup poll, 58% of those surveyed favor the legalization of marijuana. That number jumped a full 10 percentage points from just 1 year ago. Right now, 20 states permit marijuana for medical use. Washington State and Colorado are the only states that permit it for recreational use. NASA says a big asteroid that flew past Earth a couple of weeks ago almost certainly will not hit us when it comes back in 19 years. The asteroid is 1,300 feet wide, but it wasn't discovered until nearly a month after it came within 4 million miles of Earth. That's because smaller asteroids are harder to spot than the much larger ones. NASA says there's only a 1 in 48,000 chance it will hit Earth the next time around. Meanwhile, researchers say they found evidence a massive comet smashed into Earth in the distant past. They say it exploded after it entered the atmosphere and rained, quote, a shockwave of fire that obliterated every life form in its path. Scientists think the heat reached 3,600 degrees and turned parts of the Sahara Desert into glass. Still to come, CBN News is in Israel with an exclusive look at a new exhibit tracing the history of the Bible.
Hi, my name is Breda. I'm just your typical 9-year-old. I love singing, dancing, reading, discovering the simple truth. My grandpa says you're never too young or old to learn the value of a dollar. He taught me the true value of this paper dollar. You see this little gold coin? It says $1 on it. But guess what? That was a long time ago. Today, this gold dollar is worth over 100 paper dollars. This paper dollar is now only worth 1 penny compared to America's former money, the gold dollar. My grandpa says the only money worth saving today is real money, gold or silver coins. He's pretty smart. How our paper dollars lost their value, he says. It's all explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. It's easy and fun to read. If you call the number on the screen, I will send you a copy totally free. Next time, I will explain the simple truth about money.
Help!
If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Help! And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
Inside every child is a hero, a leader, a friend to others, someone who helps out, who does the right thing, who dreams of what they can be. But they still need our help.
What should I do? What should I say? How should I feel?
That's where Superbook comes in. It provides moral and spiritual truths through situations children can relate to, teaching God's Word to the children you love. Join the Superbook DVD Club and receive Superbook's newest episodes as they're available, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25. Get Superbook today and watch the miracles happen.
3 U.S. senators are urging the State Department to respond to attacks against Christians in Egypt. Since the ouster of Islamist President Mohamed Morsi, dozens of Coptic churches have been burned and the Coptic minority is constantly attacked by Muslims. Reports that Egyptian authorities are not doing anything to protect them are especially troubling. The senators say the attacks on Christians have endangered their ability to worship. They want the U.S. to urge Egypt's government to protect Coptic Christian churches, communities, and individuals. Kenya's Christians are also experiencing more attacks. Morning Star News reports the pastor of a church in Mombasa was shot to death while praying at his church. He had received threats after many converted to Christianity during revival services in a coastal area of the country. Church members found him slumped on one of the church chairs. He was still holding a Bible in his hand. Another pastor was strangled and left in some bushes 30 miles north of Mombasa the very same night. The murders come after angry Muslims rioted over the killing of Sheikh Ibrahim Omar and 3 others on a road near Mombasa. Islamic Sharia law will soon be the law of the land in Brunei. The leader of the country made that announcement this week. Brunei's Sultan says Sharia law should be considered a form of special guidance from Allah and would be, quote, part of the great history of the small, oil-rich country on Borneo Island. The Sultan says the law will be enforced in 6 months. It could include penalties like amputation for theft and stoning for adultery. The Sultan has been hoping to boost the influence of Islam. Religious minorities in Brunei are mainly Buddhists, Christians, and people of indigenous beliefs. A unique exhibition of Bible history opens this week in Israel. CBN News recently went to a Jerusalem museum for an exclusive preview of the display. Our John Wagi has this story.
They call it the Book of Books. The exhibition traces the history of the Bible and the Jewish roots of Christianity, tracking the story of God's written word from the Dead Sea Scrolls to the Gutenberg Bible and beyond.
It's the first presentation of this collection of rare and important Bibles and manuscripts and biblical texts, looking at the Old Testament and the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament together in one exhibition here in Jerusalem.
The significance is that we are trying to show the Jewish roots of Christianity.
Bible Land's museum director Amanda Weiss says there's no more important city than Jerusalem to host such an exhibit.
We've put an added effort to make it an equally balanced and important exhibition for both the Jewish audience and the Christian world.
The exhibition begins in the Judean desert. We have a representation here of facsimiles of those Dead Sea Scrolls that belong to Amman, Jordan.
Exhibit curator Heather Reichstadt says the dispersion of the Jewish people in 70 AD sets the stage for the exhibit.
We move into North Africa, where we then start to see introduction of Greek, where you have the Septuagint. It's the Hebrew Bible or Old Testament to Christians in the Greek language. After that, we have the introduction of earliest New Testament text.
The artwork on the walls relates directly to the exhibits, and a floor map traces the spread of God's Word throughout the world. Interactive iPads allow visitors to zoom into texts, like this genealogy from Adam to Christ. There's even an exact working replica of the 15th century Gutenberg press, which printed the famous Gutenberg Bible.
And you have a printed page. You could print out several thousand in a day.
We do end the exhibition with one of the oldest biblical texts known to date, which is a blessing from Numbers 6:24 through 26. May the Lord bless you and keep you.
Most of the exhibit comes from the Green family collection, which will one day have a permanent home in a new museum in Washington, D.C. Kerry Summers is chief executive of the Green collection. He says they want to change the notion many people have that the Bible is not readable.
We take on that challenge to provide a means for people to get comfortable reading it. It's literally one of the great rights of the world. It's fantastic, it's entertaining, it's mystery, it's everything that good movies are made of, are found in the Bible.
John Wagi, CBN News.
Up next, a subject close to women's feet, shoes that are stylish and comfortable. Good news for those aching feet right after this.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Most people will walk some 75,000 miles by the time they're 50. That's like walking 5 times around the earth. So all of us need to take care of our feet. And as Jennifer Wishon shows us, that starts with wearing comfortable shoes.
Shoes, glorious shoes. You can't go wrong with the perfect pair of shoes. The right color and style can make you feel like a star. Put on the wrong pair and it's sheer agony.
I keep the extra heels at work. Yeah, I have 2 pairs of heels in a drawer.
The average American woman owns 17 pairs of shoes, but only wears 3 pairs on a regular basis.
I think I own 25 pairs. Maybe around 15.
The average man also owns about 17 pairs.
I think 13 pairs.
But not everyone can walk into a store and buy shoes off the rack.
Being comfortable, appropriate for work, and somewhat stylish, all 3, and then in a size 11, it's hard to find.
Such was the case for shoe designer Anya Liu. She had the opposite problem, finding shoes in her size, a 3.5. The former DuPont engineer and dancer started her multi-million-dollar company 8 years ago.
My sister called me the day before her wedding and says, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go buy me a pair of shoes.
And even though her sister already had a pair of shoes, she could only wear them for a total of 15 minutes max. But some women choose fashion over sensibility and eventually end up here, in the office of Dr. Jennifer Purvis, a podiatrist in Northern Virginia.
I tell people who have foot problems, put your tennis shoe or your sandal on while you're getting ready in the morning and maybe even when you're driving to church, and then change into your shoe before you walk in.
Most people will walk some 75,000 miles by the time they're 50. That's like walking around the earth 5 times.
The foot and ankle is a very complex structure. There's 26 bones plus dozens of ligaments and tendons.
The most common problems? Pain in the heel, arch, and ball of the foot, tendon issues in the ankles, bunions, hammer toes, and finally, toenails, ingrown and otherwise. And we make these worse by wearing the wrong shoes.
There's a problem called pump bump, where the shoe actually can rub on the back of the heel.
If you have fallen arches, you'll need more support than the typical flat shoe, flip-flop, or sandal may give. And what about those painful bunions and hammer toes? They're usually hereditary, but
we tend to do things to our feet, such as squeeze them into pointy-toed shoes or pretty high heels.
If you must wear a dress shoe, look for one with a heel that's 2 inches or less. If you walk a lot, choose for comfort, such as a sneaker that gives you nice arch support. An orthotic in your shoe is always an option.
There's nothing worse than walking around in an uncomfortable pair of shoes, no matter how cute they are. But trends are changing, and that's good news for your feet.
It's not just the type of situation where you just go make a shoe and put cushioning in it, and also it's comfortable.
You probably have to pay a little bit more for the shoes, but there's definitely some very cosmetically appealing shoes that patients would be embarrassed to walk around in that still give good support for the foot.
Which brings us back to designer Anya Liu. The thought of wearing orthopedic shoes can be devastating. Her goal? To create shoes that look as good as they feel. A style she calls couture comfort.
I am my own demographics. I serve women just like me and like you. We engineers, we solve problems. If we can send men walking on the moon, how can we not have a collection of shoes for women that we can look chic?
Liu wants to empower women and tell them they can look good and feel good at the same time. And that's something that retailers want to pass on to their customers.
Women look far more beautiful when they walk comfortably in a shoe than when they're tottering because it's uncomfortable.
And people are taking note.
I'm trying to be stylish, but I think now comfort is my priority.
And if you ever need a little pick-me-up, always remember,
if you want to forget all of life's troubles, wear tight shoes. We all have much more important things to think about, so keep your feet comfortable and healthy.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music, it's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might.
I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music, it's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might.
I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing.
And finally this hour, Britain's 3-month-old future monarch Prince George was christened with water from the Jordan River. 4 generations of the royal family gathered at the Royal Chapel of St. James Palace Wednesday. Prince William and Lady Catherine asked 7 people to be godparents, including the friend of the late Princess Diana and one of William's cousins. The venue and selection of godparents raised eyebrows, but many are in support of the break in tradition.
I think this is very much about the couple making sure that George is going to be raised as ordinary as he possibly can be, with people that have spent very much the most normal part of Kate and William's lives with them, their school years and their university years.
William, Prince Charles, and the Queen were all christened at Buckingham Palace. Prince George's christening happened in the same chapel where Prince William paid last respects to his late mother back in 1997. Well, that is going to do it now for CBN News Today. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. And tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse, read separate versions at a glance, click and read a commentary, or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.